He was a single dad, counting his last pennies for diapers, when a stranger stepped in and changed their lives forever. The bright lights of a peaceful, neighborhood grocery store shone overhead, buzzing in the otherwise empty evening. Lucas Herrera stood in the checkout line, his 2-year-old daughter, Isla, balanced carefully on his hip. In her tiny hands, she clutched a worn stuffed bunny, its fur frayed from months of companionship. She had been fussy all afternoon, restless and tired, and Lucas knew exactly why. At home, they were down to their last 2 diapers. Money was tighter than it had ever been, and even buying a single pack of diapers felt like stepping into a storm. Lucas, at 35, had imagined life differently. Just a few years ago, he had been a promising architect at a mid-sized firm in Santa Fe, working on projects he loved, with a wife who made his world brighter and a baby girl who filled their small apartment with laughter. But fate had other plans. His wife, Elena, had died in a sudden car accident when Isla was only 7 months old. One moment everything seemed normal, the next, Lucas was a widower, left with a baby who cried for her mother and a mortgage he could barely manage alone. The months after her death had been relentless. Lucas tried to keep working, but grief made focus impossible, and child care costs meant he couldn't spend long hours at the office. Mistakes piled up, deadlines were missed, and eventually, the firm let him go, calling it a restructuring. To Lucas, it felt like the final blow to the life he had once known. Since then, he had pieced together freelance projects whenever he could, taking small design jobs, handyman work, even delivering furniture for local stores, anything that allowed him to stay home with Isla while bringing in a little money. But it was never enough. Now, he stood in line at the checkout, counting coins from his thin leather wallet. He had $12.42 exactly. The pack of diapers in front of him cost $11.94. That would leave him with 48 cents until his next freelance payment arrived in 3 days. No milk. No bread. No fruit. Nothing else, just diapers, because they were non-negotiable. The woman ahead of him finished her purchase and stepped away. Lucas placed the pack of diapers on the conveyor belt. The cashier, a tired-looking woman in her 50s with her hair pulled back in a messy bun, scanned it without a glance. $11.94. Lucas began counting his bills carefully. A 10, a 1, then coins, quarters, dimes, nickels. His pulse quickened as he felt the impatient line behind him and Isla squirming in his arms. She dropped her bunny to the floor with a small thump. "Bunny," she whined. Lucas bent to pick it up, juggling her on one hip, and in doing so, more coins spilled from his hands. "I'm so sorry," he muttered, cheeks heating as he knelt on the cold tile floor, trying to gather them while holding Isla. "Sir, there's a line," someone behind him said sharply. "I know. I'm almost done," Lucas said, his voice breaking. He bent lower, scooping up quarters, dimes, and nickels. Isla began crying in earnest now, her small fists clenching his shirt. "Here." A calm, gentle voice broke through his panic. Lucas looked up to see a woman crouched beside him, picking up the scattered coins with efficient hands. She looked to be in her early 30s, her light brown hair falling in soft waves, wearing a cream-colored blazer that somehow seemed effortlessly elegant. "Thank you," Lucas said quietly as he stood, lifting Isla back onto his hip. "I'm sorry, it's been a hard day." "Don't apologize," the woman said, smiling at Isla, who had momentarily stopped crying to stare curiously. "She's beautiful." "How old?" "2," Lucas said softly. "Isla." The woman finished collecting the coins and handed them back. "I'm Amara Wells," she said, offering a warm smile. Lucas managed a shaky smile. "Lucas Herrera." As he handed over the exact change, Amara stepped closer. "Excuse me," she said to the cashier. "I'd like to buy all the diapers you have in this size." The cashier blinked, confused. "All of them?" "Yes, every package." "And deliver them to him, please," Amara added, turning toward Lucas. Lucas froze. I can't accept that. That's too much. I don't even know you." "You don't need to know me," Amara said gently. "You just need to accept help. Your daughter needs diapers. I have the ability to provide them. That's all." "Why?" Lucas whispered, overwhelmed. Amara paused, her gaze distant. "Because I've been where you are." "Not exactly, but close enough." I know what it feels like to stand in a checkout line, counting coins, wondering how you'll get through the next day. Someone helped me once. I never forgot. I'm just paying it forward. Lucas felt dizzy, unable to fully comprehend the kindness being offered. 30 packages of diapers. That would last Isla months without the constant anxiety over essentials. Within the hour, they finalized the delivery details. Isla reached toward Amara. "Pretty lady," she said, one of her favorite recent phrases. Amara smiled, gently touching Isla's tiny hand. "You're the pretty one, sweetie. Take good care of your daddy." That afternoon, boxes of diapers arrived at Lucas's small apartment. He sat on the floor amidst the cardboard, tears running down his face. For the first time in months, he didn't have to worry about this one thing. Someone had seen his struggle and responded without judgment. A week later, Lucas called Amara. "Hello, Miss Wells. This is Lucas Herrera, from the market." Her warm voice answered immediately. "Lucas. How are you? How's Isla?" "They're amazing," he said. "The diapers, they made a huge difference. I just wanted to thank you again." "You're welcome," she replied. "But I imagine you didn't just call to thank me, did you?" Lucas hesitated. I need work. I'm trying to rebuild my freelance design business, but I'm running out of contacts. Do you know anyone looking for interior design services?" "Send me your portfolio," Amara said promptly. "I know several people who need exactly that." 2 days later, Amara called with an offer that nearly made Lucas drop his phone. A residential development project, 25 homes, fully remote, paying $4,800 per house. Over $120,000 in total. Market rate. Not charity. Just business. Lucas accepted immediately. The work was challenging, fulfilling, and reminded him why he had loved design in the first place. For the first time in over a year, he wasn't constantly stressed about money. He could buy groceries without counting every penny. Isla had new shoes that fit. He could breathe. Months later, Amara invited Lucas and Isla to a small cafe for lunch. Isla immediately gravitated toward her, chattering about her bunny, her shoes, and everything else in her tiny world. "She's delightful," Amara said, smiling. "You're doing an amazing job with her," Amara added softly. "Some days are better than others," Lucas admitted. They spent hours talking, about parenting, grief, rebuilding life, and the unexpected ways kindness can appear. For the first time in a long while, Lucas felt truly understood. Over the next months, coffee dates, dinners, and walks with Isla gradually deepened their bond. Amara never rushed, never pressured, she understood grief didn't follow a timeline. Slowly, carefully, Lucas allowed himself to trust again. A year later, in that very same market aisle, Lucas knelt before Amara. Isla watched curiously as he asked the question that had been growing in his heart. "Amara Wells, will you marry me?" Amara laughed and cried at the same time. "In a grocery store?" "In the place where you saved our lives," Lucas replied. She said yes. 6 months later, they married. Isla was the flower girl, Amara's grown daughter the maid of honor. During their vows, they reflected on how despair had led to hope, how kindness could appear in the most unexpected moments. Years later, when asked about their meeting, Lucas and Amara always returned to that market aisle. Lucas would smile and say, "I was counting pennies in a checkout line." Amara would add, "And I was counting blessings, because I could help someone when they needed it most." Together, they established a foundation to assist single parents in crisis, covering rent, groceries, child care, and medical expenses, ensuring the kindness that had changed their lives would continue to ripple forward. Sometimes, salvation comes in unexpected forms. Sometimes it wears an elegant blazer and shops at your local market. Sometimes it simply says yes when everyone else has said no. And for Lucas and Isla, that day in the checkout line changed everything.